God bless you guys. This is Sean here from Faith Brings Change. I wasn't going to come on here and do this. I was thinking about not doing it, but I've changed my mind since I see, guys. You know, I'm here for this channel to stand up for the little guys and people that get bullied, and especially in the church. And there's a lot of talk about going around about who's a false prophet and who's a not. And there's a lot of accusations thrown out there that's pretty evil. But I just want to tell you clearly, if you're new to this channel, welcome to this channel. January 28, 2021, the Lord told me I was the end-time Elijah. He just pointed his finger and said, "You're Elijah." And it's not reincarnation. Like John the Baptist, he wasn't a reincarnated version of Elijah, but he was his Elijah of his day, and I'm the same thing. And he told me a while back I was one of the two witnesses. So I'm going to be pouring out plagues, and I'm just going to tell you, you better be very careful if you're out there. I'm not saying to all people, but who may concern. If you're out there saying false prophet this, false prophet that, you need to be very careful who you're saying it to, because I'm telling you, here for me, I'm going to be have power to pour out plagues on anybody who's slandering anybody. Like for instance, if somebody preaches to somebody that they have to go and sin no more, and somebody else says you're a false prophet for saying that, or you're legalist and spreading slander, you will have plagues put on you if you do that. Because the Lord told me he's not going to be tolerating in the time of the tribulation any of those kind of slanders, because you can really hurt people, guys. You can really destroy people with your words and your tongues. And there's too much, he's a false prophet, she's a false prophet going around. And I'm just telling you, I won't put up with that. If you better be very careful who you call a false prophet, and better make sure that it's for a good reason, like because they're preaching for sin or standing up for sin. But if it's just for your own personal vendetta because you want to be able to do sins, and you feel like somebody reproving you for sin is being false, then I'm here to tell you, you got plagues coming your way, and I won't put up with it. And one of the things I'm going to be doing, just to tell you guys, if anybody's bullying anybody anywhere in any school, or laughing at people, making fun of people, they're going to have plagues put all over their body, like sores and stuff. Like the way Satan did Job, they're going to have plagues put on their body. And so that's going to stop the kids getting bullied at school. If there are any prophets, people speaking against prophets of the Lord and saying you're a false prophet just because they don't like them preaching against sin, they're going to have sores put on their mouth. Jesus told me I'll have freedom to do all the manner of plagues I want. You know, they're going to have sores put on your mouth. You're going to break out in blisters to where your tongue's going to be hanging out of your mouth if you're using your tongue to gossip or slander against people. And so this is a fair warning. And I also read about Rahab, the harlot, who hid the messengers of the Lord. There's a few people in the world that aren't saved that I know of, and maybe one or two of them on here, and they've been nice to me. Look, the people that have been nice to me, I'm going to have grace for those people. But you know what? If they're slandering and tearing up people with their tongues, if they're doing that and speaking out against the Lord's ministers online and trying to cause trouble, they're going to get plagues put on them, whether they're a believer or not. But if they've been nice to people like me and stuff like that, they're going to get, you know, I've told God for this people, you know, these people were nice to me. They were one of the few. And the people that weren't saved, that were nice to me, were more of a refreshment to me than those people who were so-called Christians and were just evil for no reason, you know, just reject and fight me for no reason, you know. And the reason why is I'm not going to put up with that kind of slander and evil, you know, at that time. If the devil was going to give out false dreams at that time to deceive people and make him think he's God and tell them, no, you can have sin or whatever sin is put on you, he's going to have the same plagues he put on Job, put on him and all his demons, for every one of the least of his demons who do that. They're going to be literally not allowed to do false dreams for about 3.5 years. And this is how God says he's going to shut up the diviners. He's going to close their eyes so they will not prophesy a lying divination. There's a lot of people using words of saying this is divination because you're telling people about repentance. No, that's not going to work too much longer. They're going to have literal plagues put on them. They'll have sores in their mouth. If there are Christians, not people that are not saved, but if they're Christians in the Lord and they're claiming to be for the Lord and they're doing things like masturbating or doing evil, they're going to have plagues put on their body. And this is all to get them, because at that time they're going to have a 3.5-year warning, Jesus said, before he returns. And this is to get them ready for heaven. And so a lot of things are going to heat up. There's not going to be the kind of evil. If somebody wants to point a gun, one of the plagues I'm going to do is to go shoot up somebody, his hand will immediately go into terrible pains, and he won't be able to pull that trigger. We'll stop the kids from getting molested. There'll be terrible pains if somebody steals a person's car so they can't go anywhere and get around. The penalty will be horrible sores on that person's feet where they can't walk. There's going to be an African plague of bees, the Candyman kind of bees for people celebrating pride events, but to teach little children to sin. So they're not going to be allowed. They can, the people that are unsaved, will leave them untouched if they want to sin. But if they try to teach one of the little ones to sin, they're going to get plagues put on them. And this is to protect people so that they don't go to hell when they're ready for heaven, guys. And I'll be gracious to whom I'll be gracious. My name is Sean. God is gracious. And God is gracious to whom he'll be gracious. But, it all depends on how you treat me and how I see you treating other people, guys. And so don't be bullying people and doing evil. Do good, guys, because it's going to, those people speaking against false prophet this, false prophet that, and saying, I am anointed, follow me. I don't want to say which movement it is, but they're saying, look at all these ministers out there saying, I'm anointed, follow me. You need to do something extra. Guys, don't pay attention to that. That's just an attack. Because they call going and sinning no more something extra. And so they tell you that's a false Christ, Even though most of these people that are preaching repentance, I hardly ever hear someone say, I'm anointed, follow me. But they're trying to exploit that verse because they don't like the holiness message being preached. And these are people not in the lukewarm movements. These are people in the holiness churches. So there's not going to be any pretenders anymore, guys, at that time. But the people that are doing that, they're going to have plagues put on them if they're trying to call the gospel something extra. They will not be able to lie to the Lord and say they're the Lord, because whoever is of the Lord's on that day will be in the light and won't be in outer darkness. Whoever's not of him will be in outer darkness and have all those plagues put on him. And I've asked him to, I can't change whoever's not in the book of life at that time. I won't be able to change who goes into that darkness in Revelation 9. Because he told me, I'm going to lift up my hand at the fifth trumpet. He's going to bring down that star, he told me. But I don't get to pick who's in the book of life or who's not, so that's why I'm praying for y'all. That's one plague, guys, I don't get to pick. And so who's in the light and who's not. And so I'll be praying for y'all. And I'll say, like to the girl on here that wasn't, I don't think she maybe is a Christian or something, but I would pray for her. If I could spare her from that at that time, I would. The people that have been nice to me. But I don't get to choose that one plague. But the other ones, guys, it's going to be according to how you treat, if you're bullying and slandering people and saying this person's a false prophet and that, and it's just because you don't like sin being preached against, that you're going to have plagues put on you. You're going to be all over, you'll have plagues, terrible plagues like Job all through the tribulation. I won't let any of the people doing that violence to the church, speaking against the little ones, to hurt them, to hurt their heart. I won't allow them to do that. Because I know that the awful pain of gossip and rejection and what damage it does. So if you keep doing that out there who are doing that, I'm just warning you, you're going to have plagues put on you. Because I'm Elijah. I'm the last guy, with the other of the second two witnesses. I don't know who that is, but Jesus told me to my face I was one of the two witnesses. And I asked him, who's the other one? He said, I don't know, somebody like you, Sean. And so if he doesn't know, that means he hasn't found that person yet. That person needs to get out of sin or out of the world. But I hope they do soon. But, Jesus told me only the Father knows who's going to sin against him. He only knows certain things. And Jesus, knows a lot of stuff. But he doesn't know, and he talked to me about that, some of that stuff. And so I kind of understand things. But I'm going to let you go right now, guys. I just wanted to talk to you about that. Just be very careful who you call false, guys, because I'm standing up for the little guys. That's why I'm here, guys. But I love you. Till next time, shalom.